The National Basketball Association has two standards of officiating, one for the league as a whole, and another for me, Wilt Chamberlain. But unless the referees begin to apply the rules the same for all, said Chamberlain, I'm not going to develop my full scoring potential and team value. And the Warriors are not going to beat out the Boston Celtics for the Eastern Divisional Championship of the NBA. The referee's reasoning, as Chamberlain sees it, for allowing illegal zone defense to be used against him. From a flat-footed stance, Chamberlain can reach 9 feet 6. He can make a standing jump 3 feet 9. At the top of his jump, he can reach 13 feet 3 or 3 feet 3 above the upper edge of the basket rim. So we've got to give the defense more than average leeway to cope with him.
Nobody could really stop him, and everybody tried the hard way to stop him. They tried to kill him.
Wilt was in the pivot playing defense, and the fellow whom he was playing came back with an elbow and caught Wilt right in the teeth, and Wilt went flat out. I thought all his teeth were knocked out, and I looked on the floor. I couldn't find his teeth anywhere. What had happened, his teeth were pushed back up into his head. All you could see is the gums. He missed one game because of that.
You said you'll never play again in the NBA, is that right?
Well, I played my last game with the Warriors.
Does that mean you're through with basketball completely?
Well, not exactly. I'd rather not comment on it except I'm through with the NBA.
What could change your mind?
I don't see anything that could change my mind, Brandon. I don't see anything at all that could change that.
Wilt surprisingly announced his retirement from the NBA. He said he couldn't take the pounding anymore.
Earl Strong, the legendary referee who's no longer with us, said to this guy a number of times. He says, if we called all the fouls on Wilt, we wouldn't have a game. So there was two sets of rules for Wilt when he played.
What he brought to the players in the league was the knowledge that they would have to get a baseball bat as the only way they could intimidate Wilt. He could take it. He was like a fighter who could take a punch.
Jordan, every time you hit him, he was crying, oh, motherfucker, hit me. Going to David Stern's office, going to the commissioner's office, having a meeting about getting hit, getting fouled. You got to change the rules.
Well, the NBA sent us a rule today that says anytime we foul anybody deliberately too hard, we're going to get ejected from the game, so you're safe. Good.
Yeah, Jordan was a great player in the 80s. But they were finishing third and fourth in the division.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay, he dominated in the 90s.
Yes.
But in the 80s, he was out in the first round.
Right.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul. You haven't committed a foul in almost a year and a half, man. How can you talk? My goodness.
But he got that zone defense in his favor, though, Russ. They ain't gonna be able to drop 3 and 4 or 5 guys on you. Like you, mother.
When talk of the NBA introducing zone defense began ahead of the 2001-2002 season, Michael Jordan made an impassioned plea before the NBA Rules Committee. Jordan spoke passionately. If teams were able to play zone defenses, he said, he never would have had the career he did.
They didn't call those zone defenses back when I was playing. Remember, they had 5 guys around me, plus the 2 referees were punching me all at the same time. Wow, it was bad. But see, they won't be able to do that shit with you down
What year did they put no zone defense?
Oh, the zone was always in there. It just weren't called. Oh, it was always in there. Oh, it was in there.
When somebody was that dominant, the first thing that people say is that he didn't play against anybody. That wasn't the case. It was a very physical game, much more physical than it is today. You had no 3-point line, so defenses were completely crowded in the lane, and there wasn't a lot of movement. The league has made it easier to score. Looking back at who he was as a player, I feel like he could have scored more in this day and age.
I hear all the time about how great Michael Jordan is. In my way of thinking, Michael, I'm talking to Michael and talking to myself at the same time, your game has been enhanced by things that they have done so the fan can see you do some of those brilliant things that you do.
They were cracking down on a spin move that they wanted the officials to call traveling. And Michael Jordan does the spin move, and I make the call. Phil Jackson comes flying off the bench, and I say, wait a second, Phil. You know as well as I do, that's the spin move that they're telling us to call. And he said, they may want that play called, but they certainly don't want it called on him. And he pointed at Jordan, who walked by and just stared at me. I started to understand the game within the game of the NBA.
My game, it went the other way. They tried to stop me.
You used to be able to inbound the ball by throwing it up over the backboard.
And of course, there was no defense for Wilt in that particular play. He just went above the rim, reached out, and stuffed it.
Wilt was taking 2 steps back from the free throw line, then taking 2 long strides, taking off from him back of the line, and then dunking the ball. That would have been his free throw. So that rule was changed. The ball had to hit the rim before you could cross the line.
Wilt felt like he's been legislated against, which he was.
You see, with the new rules, which are all slant to help the offense, as they call fouls though today, you know, Shaq gets away with what I would consider murder.
Shaq has it against Green, powers to the hoop.
But the game would best suit me. I would love it. I would love it. 50 points, maybe 60 points, maybe 70 points a game.